Look at that. This is the Canadian Wagyu. It's got a good amount of intramuscular fat, strip loin, but look at this one. This is the A5 Wagyu Japanese, and it's like a block of butter. We'll slice these up and do it over live charcoal. Try not to mess up cutting a $150 piece of steak. Oh my god, it's so buttery. Like, I put my hand on it, it's like it's melting. Oh yeah, yeah, that's good. That's how it looks like when we had it in Japan. My god, it's like melting in my hand. This is like $15 a piece.
It's going to be a lot of meat. Maybe we don't have the whole other one.
God, it's so soft you could cut it with a butter knife. Okay, now time for the Canadian Wagyu. Okay, first off, I can immediately tell you that the Canadian Wagyu is much more muscular. It's like not as buttery, and it's much firmer. Still beautiful intramuscular fat though. It's still beautiful. Japanese Wagyu, that piece there was a $150 piece of steak, and this was a $50 piece of steak, or $60.
Oh, got a little bit.
It'll flare up pretty quick.
I heard the sizzle. Did you? Should that be turned?
All right, the first taste test. Japanese Wagyu A5. Very buttery. Oh, got a little flare up going on there. It's like eating butter.
Want me to put a Canadian one on?
Yeah, let's do the Canadian one. There's nothing like grilled bread.
Yeah, it's pretty buttery.
Yeah, put a little finishing salt on it, a little fleur de sel. It's juicy. You could eat it with your, if you didn't have teeth, you could eat this with your gums. Makes a difference with the finishing salt.
Sounds like it's pretty good.
And this is the Canadian. Alright, this time Canadian. It's like medium rare. You did a great job cooking it.
Good.
That's really good too.
How does it compare to the first one?
It's not as buttery, but it's darn good.
Oh, there's a lot of good flavor.
Mmm.
You don't have a lot of the flavor.
That Canadian one is more, I don't want to use the word, it's almost more beefy.
It's good with the garlic sauce. The garlic sauce.
Mmm. It's both really, really good. Let's finish our meal and then see which one we think is the best.
Did you put more in?
Just the beef. There you go.
Alright. I'll put a piece of this just on top. Just quick as a bunny.
So that's your
That has a little bit of garlic, stuffed jalapeno, the lettuce,
like
and
it's like a $15 sandwich.
15.
How is it?
It's good. Well, the key part is the Wagyu, so it's good. That was good.
Well, this one's like, what, a $5 bite? $2 bite. You don't even need to bite into, the beef just melts. Could you imagine having a sandwich made out of that?
Well, you do.
Hmm. All right, let's try what you did. Grilled lettuce, Canadian Wagyu. The Canadian stuff's really good. It's more meaty.
Yeah, it's good. It's beefier.
Yeah, it's definitely got a way beefier taste, Canadian Wagyu. And we're having it like, well, basically medium rare. I don't know which one I like more.
They're both different. They're both really good.
They're both really good in their own way. I have to say, wrapping it in the grilled lettuce, your idea is really good. In particular, having with the garlic on it is really good.
Okay.
Don't waste any of that fat. Put it on the vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
You like it? Where are you going? How was that? How was that? The Japanese Wagyu is like nothing else that you've ever eaten. It's butter. That's the only way to describe it. It's butter. The Canadian Wagyu is kind of like, imagine the best strip loin you've ever had, because that's what these are. It's like that much better than that. But it's also beefier than the Japanese. The Japanese Wagyu doesn't have as much of a, it's weird to say, it's just not as beefy. Whereas the Canadian Wagyu is more like a premium cut, like super premium cut of beef. But it still retains that beefy taste. Would you agree?
Yeah, it definitely has a beefier taste to it. You know, you say the Wagyu Japanese tastes like butter. It goes through like butter, but it's still beef. Like, it doesn't have the beefy flavor of the Canadian. And the Canadian does have a bit of chew to it as well.
It's a little chewier.
A little chewier, but still tasty. But there's something about the Wagyu Japanese that just takes it to another realm.
Yeah. Takes
Another
us right,
world.
Takes us right back to Kobe. You're both delicious. So if you get a chance to try either one. Doesn't matter.
Both a great experience.
The other thing is we have 5 ounces of each of the steak of each piece. It's so rich. You do not need a ton of it, especially the way we're eating it, cutting it up, having it over barbecue, and then with other things. It's just, You just want to enjoy it. It's see how much more fat this one has. This one just has way more fat than the Canadian.
But when you look at it raw, you think, oh, I'm just eating fat. But when you eat it, you don't get the sensation that you're eating fat. Like, you know that you're eating beef.
Yeah.
It just tastes...
It's so unique.
Yeah, it is unique.
Okay, that one's done.
Not bad.
Something about grilled bread.
Yeah, no. Grilled anything, I guess.
All right, we're almost done our meal. What would you say?
Do it if you can.
Yeah. One isn't better than the other. That's a bad way of describing it. Because they're both freaking amazing, delicious. Just Japanese Wagyu is just very unique. There's no beef out there like it. Would you like?
Yeah, I mean, not that we eat it. Anyway, it's just an experience to have it. The Canadian one is really good though. It's really tasty. You've got a bit more beef to it and you have to chew a little bit. The Wagyu Japanese, you don't like forget about chewing. That's like
It's just
so toothy. Like the
like-
last century.
like it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just completely.
and it's like dripping down my hand.
Yeah. This was such a fun experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to do this, totally do it.
Yeah.
Highly,
You
highly recommend.
Don't need much. Like seriously, it goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I enjoyed that meal.
Yeah.
Anyways, see you guys.